Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Topic under discussion was to take part in avenues of goodness of Sahab and to be generous at the same time also. Concerning this, and the few hadiths have been mentioned here also. So Abdullah bin Amr bin As narrates that one person came and asked Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, from Islam, what are the best actions in Islam? So Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam replied that to feed the people food and at the same time to make salam to people who you know and who you don't know also. So there's a small little hadith which is worthy for practicing upon, where in Islam we are taught to have to breed happiness with one another and to respect one another is to make salam. Salam in actual reality is a dua for the next person. So everybody in need of dua, and salam is a very complex dua at the same time. So if we promote salam amongst one another, then each one will live with safety and happiness in love, and each one won't have a fear of anybody themselves. So dua salam means the dua for peace for one another, and that's what everybody needs. And the salam is such a complex dua, it can be used at all times, whether in times of happiness, time of sadness, or time of any condition also. You can use the same greeting in use. Unlike other religions, they got greeting only for certain occasions. They got only good morning for the morning only, good evening for the evening only. All those things. So the greeting of Islam is a very universal greeting, and it's a complex dua in other words. So nothing more better than giving dua to somebody. So here Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that as a Muslim, one of our great quality of a Muslim is that he makes salam to one another, and not only the people who he knows or who associates with, but makes salam to everybody, whether he knows the person or doesn't know the person. Must be a Muslim in reality. Salam to a Muslim, whether you know him or you don't know him. That is our responsibility and duty, in other words. And at the same time, to make salam all the people who you know, that is a sign of Qiyamah, in other words. At the time of Qiyamah, people will make salam to who they know, and don't make salam to other people, don't make salam to the poor people, don't make salam to people of a lower category. So here, one point that Islam explained here was to make salam whoever you know or whoever you don't know, so and others must promote salam to one another. The second thing mentioned here is to feed the people. Otherwise, to feed somebody is a thing of virtue, a thing of sawab it is. And now to feed somebody, what does it mean? That you are generous, in other words. And you are generous to feed somebody, and you feed somebody, that person's need is being fulfilled, so he will give du'as to you. And in return, that du'as will benefit you also. So that also breeds muhabbat and love with one another. So these two things mentioned in this hadith. One is to make salam to whom you know or you don't know, and another is to feed the people food, especially the hungry, the poor. You feed them, you get more rewarded for this. Another hadith has Abdullah bin Amr bin As narrates from Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, there are 40 things from where a person can practice any one of the 40 things, and that person will get reward. So much reward will go into Jannah, it will go. So from the 40 things, even one thing he can practice upon it there, then that thing will take him towards Jannah, will take him. So from the 40 things, one thing is there, that the person has got a she-goat, and give that goat as a loan to somebody to use. Now what does it mean? That sometimes you find, in the villages you find, the people have got animals, they've got goats, and use the milk from the goat to use. And if the person has got more animals than his necessities. For example, 2 animals are enough for him, and he's got 5 animals, for example. Now the remaining 3 animals is extra by him. So what he does, he gives some of his neighbor, he gives them, he gives some of his relatives, he gives them, say, look, you look after this goat and benefit from the milk from them. And when the animals stop giving milk, then I return my animal, no problem. So this, in other words, the person who gives the animal to somebody to use the milk from an animal, it is also a sign of generosity. It is where a person is spending something on somebody, in other words. So this was the trend at that time in the villages. that people should have extra milk from the animal. The remainder animal should, instead of selling the milk, should leave the animal where those people to utilize the milk from the animal. Whether it can be a cow, whether it can be a buffalo, whether it can be a sheep, or whether it can be a goat, whatever people can benefit from, you give somebody to utilize those things there, and in return you will get sawab for it. And that's also a sign of generosity, in other words. And from this we can understand that any article, anything which can benefit somebody, to allow them to use those things to benefit from there, if they are in need, then that is a means of sawab, and it's a means of generosity also at the same time. The Abu Umama narrates from the Nabi Karim sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, a person has Allah to bless him with wealth, then extra wealth, whatever it is, he mustn't keep it behind, mustn't hoard extra wealth, but must spend it on the people. This is better for you. And if you keep this wealth by you, then that wealth won't benefit you. It won't be of benefit, and won't be of any benefit to you. And this is a bad habit in the person, a bad quality in the person. At the same time, it's mentioned, if you need something for your own personal need, you need something, you keep something for that. There's nothing wrong in that. And when you start spending and utilizing your wealth, you start spending your wealth on those people who are closer to you, on whom your responsibility is to look after them and to feed them. You start spending on them first. And the person who gives is better than the person who receives. And Nabi says that the upper hand is better than the lower hand. The person who gives is better than the lower hand that takes. It means the meaning of this hadith is that if a person has got extra wealth within the first person, then that extra wealth, you shouldn't try and hoard the extra wealth. After utilizing whatever you need, whatever is left over from there, then that wealth you can distribute among the people, among the needy. That shows that the person is generous, in other words. And to hoard the wealth and not to let people benefit from there, it is not a quality of a Muslim, in other words. For example, a person buys groceries for one whole month, for example, he buys groceries, and he keeps it in his home for his use. Now, there's nothing wrong in that, because he's going to use the groceries, he's going to use it for himself. Nothing wrong in that. But now to keep so much extra that it will get bad, it will get off, whatever it is, it will get expired, whatever it is, and that is something which is not sensible thing. Rather give it to someone who can utilize it, and you get sawab for it, in other words. And at the same time, find in the business field also, where has been taught in the Sharia, that if you're going to hoard goods to just put up the prices, and that also is not allowed in Islam. You don't hoard goods to put up the prices and make it difficult for the people. But as Muslim, you must try and make things easy for the people. So in other words, whatever wealth you got extra with you, which you're not going to use, that wealth will be of no benefit to you. In other words, when you are going accumulating all the wealth, and after you go to die, so what happens now? That wealth is not going to benefit you. It's left behind. But that wealth, if you hide and pass it forward, in other words, utilize in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and put in the bank of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is the wealth that will benefit you, will help you in the hereafter, will help you. So here we are trying to, Nabi Karim tried to make us understand that whenever you have extra wealth, then think of your akhirat. Give it to poor people in need of it, that they will make dua for you, and that will come in means of isal sawab for you, to help you in the hereafter. And whatever you're going to leave behind is not going to help you now. Otherwise, whatever you have spent in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is yours. Whatever you left behind is not yours, somebody else's. That will go to inheritors, will go. And now, when you want to start spending that wealth, how much to spend that wealth? There are stages of how to spend that wealth also now. The first is to spend wealth on yourself, and after you spend on your wife and children you spend, and after on your parents you spend, and then on your family people you spend, relatives you spend, and after that you spend on your neighbors you spend, and then on the general public you spend who are poor. If you have this system, and every Muslim got to practice on this system, you'll find that there is no family in where people will not attend to. You will find no society where people will not be attended to, because the system is such that everybody must be looked after. So we keep this system in practice, then our community will start progressing. So it shows that we could try and see that We look after society also, and we mustn't try and have beggars in our society if we follow this system here. Because zakat, for example, when you give zakat, whatever the poor person now, he is attended to and he looks after his wealth. So as before, so we explain also, both got rights. One is the wealthy person also got rights, and one is the poor person also got rights. The poor person mustn't beg, and the rich person must attend to the poor people. So if this system carries on like this, then everything will go very smooth, it will run. And if you would help some poor people, then their du'as will help you to increase your wealth also at the same time. Now in the hadith also, sometimes Allah Ta'ala give you rosy because of the weak people under your care. Now, those people who are sick, for example, they can't earn for themselves, or some old people in your home who they can't earn themselves. So because of them, Allah give you rosy. It's not because of your rosy getting, it's because of them Allah giving you rosy. So there's one instance, one person was doing work, and was working very sincerely working. So one day after a long time, he took off from work. So he got permission, he took off, and after when the next day when he came, the boss saw that this person like to give him off. He does the work of about 5 people's work. He does. It looks. I never realized he does so much of work. So he got very happy and gave him a lot of present gift he gave. And the person said, Jazakallah. And after some time now, again he took a day off again. He took a day off again. So now this boss thought, and now it's becoming a habit. It looks like. So now I'm not going to. I'm going to cut his wages for one day now. So he cut his one day's wages. So again he said, Jazakallah, Alhamdulillah. He couldn't understand why he's saying like this. So I called him back and asked him that when I gave it the extra money as a gift, he said, Alhamdulillah, and cut the wages, Alhamdulillah. So what is the story behind the whole thing? So he said, actually, the first time my wife was expecting, I had to take her to the hospital to doctor to a delivery, and Allah blessed her with a baby boy. So when you give me extra money, after this boy is born, came with his own rosy came. So I said, Alhamdulillah. And the next time I took off, my mother passed away. My mother passed away, we cut off my wages. So I thought she took her rosy, went away with her rosy, she went away. So we are now, if we think in that manner, then it will become easy for us not to get attached to the world so much, but we'll try and look after ourselves, how we can benefit in the year after more, and that will give us consolement in the world. Our deen is such, it's called deen nasiha. It gives us advice, it guides us and helps us how to look after ourselves. If you learn the small principles of Islam, then the person won't go into a thinking zone or depression zone or something like that. He won't go into, because he knows his responsibility, what happens, everything is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's side, and whatever Allah wills happens, whatever it is, and a Muslim is not frightful of death. So even death going to come, so he's happy, he's going to go to Jannah, he's going to go. So the result, a Muslim is always strong all the time, and they go forward in life always. If we try and understand the small principles of Islam, then that will give us a lot of confidence, a lot of trust, a lot of support will give us. Yeah, in another hadith says that Anas narrates that in the beginning people should accept Islam, but some conditions. They should tell Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, if you give us so much of wealth, then we'll accept Islam. But Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam should give into their demands. So give them whatever they ask for, just for them to accept Islam. One place the person came to Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and said, if you give me wealth, then I will accept Islam. So at the time Nabi Sallallahu had some goats he had, and they got a valley between two mountains. The goats all were grazing there. He took all the animals, gave it to him. He got so astonished and surprised that Nabi Karim was giving all the animals just like that. I thought he gave something small, give so much he gave me. Otherwise Nabi Sallallahu is very generous. When he went back to his village and told the people, I saw a Nabi who is so generous, he doesn't fear to get poor also, he doesn't fear poverty also. So, and started praising Nabi Karim so much that the people from their village, they came and they accepted Islam after that. At the same time, these people who accept Islam in the beginning because of monetary benefits, but as they joined in the Muslim groups of the Sahaba, slowly they come to realize the reality of Islam, reality of life, who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, who Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is. After that, love for his wealth also gets over. When they become sincere Muslims, after they become. So here, the meaning of the hadith is that when a person comes to Nabi Karim sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Nabi, give me something, then Allah will accept Islam also. And then Nabi Karim sallallahu should accept their request and should give them whatever they want. That was the habit of Nabi Karim sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that all they want to accept Islam and go to Jannah, in other words. But once the Muslims grew in number, then this search stopped after it, because whoever came to follow Islam, he became true Muslim. They became. Then the people saw them, the lack of the Muslims, and then this situation got finished slowly. And normally when a person starts spending, then what Shaitan whispers in a person's heart, they will spend this wealth on people, then I won't get poor of that. Poverty will come towards me. So that fear stops a person from becoming generous. So here Nabi Karim giving us a cure for that don't think of poverty. Allah Ta'ala will provide for you. The more you're going to spend, the more you're going to get. That's why you find and another hadith also, we are being encouraged to spend in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in one other is mentioned also, when one person came and Nabi gave him so much of wealth, he got so happy, and went back he called his whole tribe and to come and meet Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they all accepted Islam. So this was a means of attracting them towards Islam. But once they accept Islam, then they regretted on what basis they accept Islam. Then they became true Muslims after that they became. And the person should come to Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam and demand something from Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If Nabi Islam had something, he should give it to them. And if he didn't have anything, then should tell them that I haven't got anything at this moment. When I get something, I'll give it to you. So initially, the people should accept Islam by taking help, assistance from Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But as time went, and Muslim number is growing more and more, then this system got finished after that. And because when they entered Islam and they saw the teachings of Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Sahaba, how they loved Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they also became similar like them. They became like them, and they realized that the basis on which we accept Islam was not correct. It shouldn't be because of money, but it should be because of sincerity. It should be. And once they accept Islam and in this manner, and the tarbiyah is made by Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the Sahaba, then they love Nabi Islam more than everybody else after that. So they should do the same thing after. They also had the same habit to help the people after that. Otherwise, they got little help, but the rest of life they help more people. They help after that. Another hadith, Umar narrates that once Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam was distributing wealth amongst people. At that time, some people came who were not worthy of receiving that aid from Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Umar told Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam that these people, they don't deserve it. And other people are more deserving, but rather give them. So Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam replied that there are two situations here. I got option of two situations to choose from there. So one is now that person was talked bad with bad language and force and take them something from me. And the other situation is that if I don't give them something, let's say I'm stingy, I'm a miser now. So what must I do? So before they can put an allegation on me, I give them whatever they want, and then they won't put allegation on me. Like we know the Kuffar Mukamukan was telling Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam that is a mad person, for example. Let's say put allegation on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. She used different words against Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She also Nabi Karim said the same thing. These people, if I don't give them, then they will talk bad and will spoil atmosphere among the Sahaba. They will spoil everything. And those kuffar who will accept Islam, they also will stop accept Islam because of their evil. Then, so I give them wealth now. Because of that, now other people who accept Islam also accept Islam. It won't now very for them not to accept Islam. And Nabi Islam said that in reality, I'm not a miser, I'm not a stingy person also. And those people who are really in need of it, those people will be sabr. They won't talk bad, do anything wrong. They know why this has transpired, and they won't create disturbances or ill feelings among the Sahaba. So this is the main reason why sometimes I deprive the people who are in need of it, I deprive them, and I give these people this call. Otherwise, Umar radiallahu anhu had, he was very intelligent, and you could see the situation, and from there should make an objection to the Nabi Islam. So some suggestion to the Nabi Islam, and Nabi Islam should explain to him why he did that. For the result, he felt comfortable, and he learned, had tarbiyah and Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. When he became the Khalifa, he did the same thing what Nabi Islam taught him after it also. How he looked after the people, what he did, he saw the situation, and Islam spread so much because of this tarbiyah he took from Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. In another hadith, Jubair ibn Tamr narrates from Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, when the battle of Hunain took place, and when they were coming back, so the village people, who were normally ignorant people, they came towards Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and started asking for a lot of wealth. And so much so, they started bouncing onto the Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and Nabi had to save himself and go back. So much so, they took refuge one tree, some double tree. And with the result, his sheet got stuck into the thorns, and it came out of his body. And one Baddu took his shawl and started going away. And some said, at least leave my shawl for me at least. So this was the condition that took place there at that time. And then Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam replied to them that understand properly that with this whole valley, how much of thorns is in this valley, how much of trees is in the valley, how much of shrubs is in this valley. Equal to that, there's all animals in this valley. I'm prepared to distribute everything for you people. But I'm not a miser or a stingy person. I'm not a liar also, and I'm not a buzdil. I'm not a coward also at the same time. So Islam explained what is happening. At that time he had nothing to give them. So how could it demand things from the Islam? And even people all that time, they shouldn't worry of anything. There's no respect in anything. At that time, Nabi Karim Sallallahu didn't have anything to give them also, and they wanted something forcefully. And whether they started pushing Nabi Sallallahu back, they wanted something on Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And Nabi Sallallahu said, even if I had something, definitely I should win to you. But at the moment, I got nothing by me this time, and I'm not a miser, and I'm not a stingy person also. The Ghazwa Hunain, the Battle of Hunain, took place after Fatah Makkah Mukarramah, and there was a tribe just away from Makkah Mukarramah, the tribe of Hawazin and the tribe of Banu Thaqif. This tribe was staying just out of Makkah Mukarramah. So when the news came to Makkah Mukarramah, they are preparing to attack Makkah Mukarramah. So Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam sent one Sahabi, Abdullah ibn Aslami radiallahu ta'ala anhu, to find and inquire, are these rumors correct, or are the false messages, the rumors they are. So he went there out of Makkah Mukarramah, and this place is just out of on the road of Taif, just after Arafat it is, on that road it is. So he went there to make inquiries to see, and when he found out that they were in reality they were preparing to come and fight and attack Makkah Mukarramah, so he brought information to Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, why let them come to Makkah Mukarramah, and they were just on the Kaaba also, the Haram also, let's we go out then and attack them there. So Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam took the Sahaba who came with him from Madinah Munawwara and took them and went towards Hunain to fight with them. So when they went there, then Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and the Sahabi went there, and these people are very good archers they were, very expert archers they were. So they hid away in the mountains and at high places they hid away, and when the Sahaba went inside and they had a little bit of fight with few of them over there. And what strategy they made, that once the Sahaba will come inside, they'll start showing the arrows from on top and from behind, and they will kill all the Sahaba. That was their strategy they made. And the Sahaba never understand there's a strategy of this. So they thought that we fought with these people now, and we won the battle already. So we started picking up the war booty from there. And these guys came from the back and started attacking the Sahaba from the back. when this happened now, there's a severe fight took place amongst them, and the Muslims were losing ground altogether. But at the same time, slowly Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the Farishta to support the Muslim, and slowly they got support, and they won the battle. Initially, this defeat that took place was because when the army of Muslims were leaving Mukarrama, and they were going towards Hunain, then some of them said that today we are in such a huge number, today we are definitely going to win. And in other words, this pride came to them, that we are so much in number, and all other battles were small in number, so now we are big, so definitely we are going to win. So these words that they spoke, Allah Ta'ala never liked these words of pride. So because of that, they had this defeat initially, and at the end Allah Ta'ala sent down the angels to support the Muslim and got success after that. That's why Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala says in the Quran, وَيَوْمَ حُنَيْنِ إِذْ أَعْجَبَتْكُمْ كَثْرَتُكُمْ فَلَمْ تُغْنِ عَنْكُمْ شَيْئًا. They remember the time of Hunain. At that time, you were in large numbers, you were, and then all of a sudden pride came into you, haughtiness came into you, and because of boastfulness you spoke those words, and because of it had to suffer consequences of it. So remember that time. Then Allah Ta'ala sent down the angels to support you, and with the result you won the battle. And from there, after when they won the battle, they had a lot of spoils of war they got, and from the spoils of war, what was note now in the Kira was that they had 4,000 uqiyah of silver they got, and 22,000 camels they got, and 40,000 goats they got from there, and 6,000 war captives they got from there. So this was what war booty they received from there. And afterwards, when they came, they called it all the war booty, then Nabi Sallallahu had the rights to utilize 1/5 of for himself. He could give anybody. That was the rights of Nabi Karim Sallallahu from war booty. So he utilized it 1/5 and helped many people. Many people distributed them and gave them their share from there. So this was the background of this battle of Hunain, which was mentioned here. And the villagers came to want to take more wealth from Nabi, but Nabi Sallallahu had this permission to choose only 1/5 of this from there. Others was for the Sahab who went in the battle, it belongs to them. So from the 1/5 he utilized whatever he could, and they wanted more than that. So that's what other Nabi Sallallahu explained all this. Allah Ta'ala give us understand to understand the system of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, and what's the rights to the wealth which Allah Ta'ala gives somebody also. Whatever Allah Ta'ala gives somebody some ni'mat, and the ni'mat comes with responsibilities always. So you could understand the responsibilities, that the ni'mat stays with you for a long time. But the minute you don't understand the responsibility, you don't discharge the responsibility, then slowly that ni'mat goes away. And it's in our daily lives we see this is happening also. Today I met somebody, they came here and were talking. They said one wealthy person, somebody went in, they wanted some loan from him. See, we haven't got any loan. We got no loan. We can't help you out, and whatever it is. So they had that attitude to them. They shouldn't help anybody. After that, all the family member got abducted. What do you call it? Kidnapped, whatever it is. And he got kidnapped. They paid so many millions extra they paid to release him, and yet didn't have money to help a poor person. So when you don't follow the system of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, then afterwards we would bear the consequences after doing that. But if you follow the system of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, then those things help you afterwards. Like the hadith also that the sadaqah will not diminish your wealth, but will increase your wealth, sadaqah. So now Allah Ta'ala's help is what you want, so sadaqah has been given. Our others explained was in Saharanpur there was one person who sell wood. They had a wooden stall. In India they sell wood. So they had a wooden stall, and after the rains came, monsoons, and the floods came, and all the people's wood got washed away. So the worker was working for this person, Haji Sahab. He told Haji Sahab that all wood is being washed away. He said, no, it can't get washed away. See, every wood, not only ours, every was washed away. See, every wood get washed away, but ours can't get washed away. So look for it. He said, what's wrong with this old man now? Look at everything, no signs of anybody wood around. Anyway, he went out a little bit. When he went out a little bit, downstream he went, he saw and there were 2 trees, in the 2 trees, his whole bundle of food was stuck in there. So very quickly came with happiness, he came to Hazrat Sahab, our food found already, it's not destroyed. So quickly he said, go bring it and put it in our stall again. So he went back with the workers and put it in the stall. Then he asked Hazrat Sahab, how did you know the yours never get lost? You see, you don't understand. I heard from Mawli Sahab, that Sahab in Mazairulum, I heard from Mawli Sahab, he said, that whoever pays zakat properly, that wealth of this is in the custody of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I knew I paid every cent of my money, the zakat I paid, so the wealth was under my custody. It was in Allah's custody. So it won't, how will it get lost? So there's so much of yaqeen in the teaching of Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When you give zakat, that your wealth is in the custody of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. With that yaqeen should give zakat. So Allah should save them in that manner. Allah should save their wealth. Some people find that they give zakat properly, regularly they give zakat, and sometimes fire breaks out in the whole complex, and their shop don't get burnt, get saved. Why? Because they paid their zakat, it was in the custody of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So to understand the system of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is difficult on ourselves, on our nafs it's difficult, but you just got to give into the nafs and obey the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you see the goodness coming into our lives after that. Allah Ta'ala gives us a tawfiq for understanding the system, the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and put into practice, and not to follow our whims, not follow our decisions.